What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chad. Today, like always, another interesting video for you here on the channel. Today is my WrestleMania 41 predictions. What's today? 8th? So we have about 8 months? 8 months out? I think it's more like 9 months. We have like 9 months out. And I'm going to be predicting my WrestleMania 41 card. I do have honorable mentions. I do have some that I just want to talk about. I want to say, making this video, kind of difficult. I'm not going to lie. This is kind of difficult. I mean, obviously, calling something 9 months out in advance is going to be difficult. But there is some factors that you have to kind of mix together that just don't make sense at all that I had to do. And other than that, I feel like let's just get started. This is probably going to be a long video. There's 13 matches, 14 matches last WrestleMania. I think I put 15, 16 in this card. So that's for the ones I truly think are going to happen. So let's first talk about the honorable mentions. So the first thing for me was the tag titles. Let's talk about all the tag titles. I have them here in the honorable mentions because I'm worried that we're going to see only one or two of the tag titles actually being used for WrestleMania, and the rest are going to be just SmackDown and Raw titles that just get moved on the shows. That's kind of what they made these tag titles, become, where they're not really, so not elevated, more prestigious. They're not prestigious anymore. They're not. We saw a tag team main event at WrestleMania 39, and I don't think we're ever going to see that again for a long time. So what is the new tag titles for the SmackDown side? And I think that we're going to see the Bloodline get the tag titles the day I'm recording this video, or I'm uploading it. And I think somehow they're going to lose it after Survivor Series. They're not going to have them. It's going to go to, I think, the Street Profits, and they're going to go against DIY when it comes down to at WrestleMania. I think the fact is that this kind of already been hinted before. I don't really know what to do for the titles. I'm going to be honest, for the tag titles. It's kind of hard to kind of call this 9 months out in advance. I just think that entering WrestleMania, we're going to probably see the Street Profits have it, and maybe it's a ladder match or something else that takes it away. Next, we have the Raw. Same kind of thing. I don't really know what's going to do. Honestly, my hardest thing I wanted to do that I was debating on doing was Jey and Jimmy having the tag titles. Now, I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to have it maybe for a little bit and then lose them again for WrestleMania. But I am going to go with a ladder match. I think last year's ladder match was really good. I think it made a lot of sense to have it for a ladder match. And if you look at the Raw side of things, it's kind of stacked when you see who's on the roster. You have Creed Brothers, AOP, LWO, Alpha Academy, New Day, the White Six potentially. I think this makes a lot of sense to have another big tag match for the tag titles. It would just be interested to see how they do this because of last year being a ladder match. Next, we have the women's tag titles. I want to say this is probably the hardest out of the three because I do think that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are doing a pretty good job with the tag titles. I think they are a kind of foreign tag team and not just two people together like we've seen in the past with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Now, I think we're going to see probably Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler have these tag titles potentially somehow, some way. And I think they're going to transition to the new winners somehow, some way. And then this is the match that I think is going to be, honestly, a good match at WrestleMania. And that is Damage Control, the champions, going against Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch coming together. There's already been some hints at, Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria being a little team up. But, of course, Becky Lynch going on her little hiatus. But Lyra Valkyria has been going against Damage Control alone. There's not really anybody else that's really been there unless you have the Miami Mommies and Kaden Carter and Chauncey. But I do think that it just makes sense to have maybe this team up for a, good tag match. Now, would this tag team for Damage Control look like Dakota Kai and Io Sky? I don't know. I just put him here because I generally believe that that's the best out of Damage Control. Asuka, and I know Zayn has been very well as well, But I'm saying when you look at the two people that I think would be excellent as tag team titles, I want these two, and you kind of have that Io Sky and Becky Lynch being the kind of veterans, or even an Asuka in this scenario, with the newcomers in Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria. I really like this. I don't know if we get it, honestly. I don't think so, but yeah. This next one is, I would say, a 10% chance of happening. That's why it's honorable mentions, because I kind of have them here just to talk about them. And let's just kind of get started with a honorable mention of Logan Paul, Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller. Doesn't look good. I know you're probably like, this will never happen. And I agree, 100% agree. But this is a match that I feel like could work out. Because if you really look at all three of them, there's been kind of this, everyone thought that they were going to make a faction. These three together, kind of these heels that are these young guys that don't care and just, they say, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. But they never really made that faction. And I'm kind of having a problem with Logan Paul during this whole setting up for WrestleMania 41. And that's what's really been kind of messing with me, I think, was that there's not really somebody I 100% see Logan Paul going against. I think we mostly just could see a Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory here. Does it happen at WrestleMania, or does it happen somewhere else because it's been so long? They're kind of already hinting at it. You thought maybe it would happen at SummerSlam. But I truly believe that Logan Paul usually goes against higher talent when it comes to a WrestleMania. I feel like no matter what, you have to have Logan Paul there. And that's the thing that's kind of hurting me, because I think there is a chance that Logan Paul doesn't get to a WrestleMania, but there's just going to be someone that goes against Logan Paul. Maybe it's, KO again. Maybe it's someone like that. I don't know. I just think somehow, some way, Logan Paul is probably going to have to get somebody, and this is a way to kind of combine stories from the past. Up next, this is just two people that I have here because I don't know what to do, and I have reasons on not knowing what to do. And it's Sami versus Drew McIntyre. I have found a hard place to find Sami Zayn. And with that being said, I think he's not going to have the title by WrestleMania. I think it's going to be long gone. I simply just have this here to talk about Sami Zayn. I just don't know what to do. And with Drew, it was kind of hard as well, because I thought of a potential CM Punk and Seth Rollins is going to be the mix, and potentially still could be. That was the main goal for this year's WrestleMania. It was for last WrestleMania, now it's for this WrestleMania. I also think that there's a chance Sami Zayn could be part of the Bloodline story, because there's not really anything 100% there for him. I just have this here, even though they've had a Raw match that kind of happened last year that kind of ended iffy in a way that Sami Zayn got a low blow and then Drew McIntyre claimed more for the win. They're kind of building that Sami Zayn underdog story to go against Gunther. I think there's still more to be said with the Drew and Sami Zayn kind of feud, where Sami Zayn's this big underdog that everyone loves, and Drew McIntyre's this crazy maniacal heel that will go at you no matter what. I just feel like there's more to this story, especially when Sami Zayn comes back from a Royal Rumble and tries to literally beat the crap out of Drew McIntyre, and they kind of give one match, and that's really it. So I think there's more to be said, but I just find a hard place to say that this is valid for WrestleMania unless there's a big build-up for them. Up next, we have the Bloodline versus Bloodline match. Now, for me, I don't think this is going to happen here. I think it's going to happen at Survivor Series. I just feel like there will be other stories or other things that just make sense for the Bloodline in this WrestleMania. Kind of finding a place again with Jimmy and Jey. I think that's the hardest point for me here, while also having Sami Zayn. I think the Tongan is another place that I'm kind of having difficulty to find where they go, where they're kind of background dancers for a Solo Sikoa. I just rather have some other things I'll talk about later, but I do think that we could see an OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline at WrestleMania, but I think they'll probably do it at Survivor Series instead. Another honorable mention here, I have these four here as a big Fatal 4-Way because I generally don't know how they get involved unless it's something with the Intercontinental Championship having a crazy just match. I don't really see it. I feel like all these guys deserve a WrestleMania spot, but I just could not find a way for them to have a good match without a triple threat. I'm going to try and go faster because I realize I talked a lot for these. Honorable mentions only. And then next I have Logan Paul versus John Cena. Now, I generally do believe that this is a huge possibility and that this can happen, because if John Cena is going to go against a lot of people in WWE, Logan Paul and John Cena is a money-making match for WrestleMania. That's what people want to see. That's a superstar on superstar. I think generally it would work. And it's kind of that kind of Logan Paul talent where he goes against these higher stars. But something that makes me kind of stop and hold the brakes on is somebody else that I'd rather have Cena go against at WrestleMania. And also, I think John Cena are going to go against more Netflix people. And until the draft happens, I feel like we're going to just see that beginning Netflix people go against each other before him going to a SmackDown or SmackDown people coming to Netflix with Raw. So I just don't know if this would happen. And then my last honorable mention that I have here is Judgment Day versus New Judgment Day. I am going to say right now that I think Finn and JD are going to go with Liv. They've been kind of sus, kind of weird with Liv, kind of really they won the tag team titles because of Liv. So I'm predicting by next year, we're going to have these two different factions of Judgment Day and New Judgment Day, where it's going to be Liv, Finn, and JD on one side, and Rhea, Damian, Dom. I don't know if I like this, though, because I feel like that old Judgment Day is going to be more of a babyface faction than anything. And having Dom there just does not make sense. So should it be, with a Dom in this scenario? I think just doesn't make sense, and I think Dom will be probably a heavy heel forever. So now let's go to the actual card. I know it's 11 minutes of Yap session, but let's go to the actual card. And the first one we're going to go against is we're going to go from championship. So we'll go from the two main, we're going to go from the Raw side, then we'll go to the SmackDown. So first, the men's. I do believe Gunther is going to still have the championship. Now, it's just who does he go against? I think we're going to see the match that every person dreamed about. I think once we hit that Royal Rumble area, someone's going to get a rocket and it's going to shoot him straight to WrestleMania against Gunther. And that person is going to be Ilya Dragunov. I think that if Braun Breaker does not have a title, then Gunther and Braun is going to be the actual WrestleMania match for this title. I think that makes a lot of sense. But if Braun is still having a title, which I do predict he does, I think we're going to have Ilya versus Gunther. Now, originally everyone thought this would happen at Bash in Berlin. I think Gunther is going to probably win the title now at Bash in Berlin rather than SummerSlam. And then Ilya and Gunther will be in the future, and they're just going to keep hinting at it until Royal Rumble. And then all of a sudden, we're going to see Ilya Dragunov potentially win an Elimination Chamber or win a Royal Rumble. Something crazy and a rocket to shoot him up. Now, could this be just an overreaction and saying this could never happen? It makes no sense. Just don't let Gunther be the championship and this happen. That's fine too. If Gunther and Ilya happens, it might not have even the championship. But I just think if Gunther gets his title, he's going to carry it to WrestleMania. And I generally don't see a way where he does not get this title. Honestly, I just can't see it. I generally believe this will be the 5-star match. I generally believe this will be probably maybe match of the night, like how Sami Zayn and Gunther was. This will be an excellent match that will be well worth it. Up next, we have the women's side of the Raw and Heavyweight Championship. And I am choosing Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. Now, this might sound stupid, but I think this will be the final part in part 3 of their little feud. I think they're going to hold it to SummerSlam, where Liv's going to win. Then we're going to go to Bad Blood in Atlanta, and Rhea's going to win. And then I think we're going to go Rhea and Liv going into WrestleMania. I think it just makes a lot of sense to kind of finish this whole Judgment Day story by WrestleMania. So I could see a way where this is the finale of this. We could also see maybe Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. I know a lot of people think that because Damage Control went to Raw. I do still believe that's a great possibility as well. I think we could see maybe even Rhea and Bianca Belair. There's endless possibilities that we could see if Rhea is the championship. And I want to give out this prediction that I could see a way where we see at the final end, Dom fully switches on Rhea and goes with Liv and costs Rhea this match. And we have Rhea and Damian now at the baby faces, while the heels are Finn, JD, Liv, and Dom now. I think that's a good sense of what could happen. I think this feud's going to feed stories, and it's going to be a long, long story to keep growing. Up next, we have the Intercontinental Championship. I do believe Braun Breaker's still going to have it, but there's so many people that I thought could go against Braun Breaker. I think all the candidates for the Fatal 4-Way, I think all of them could be involved. I think Braun Strowman could even be involved. I feel like Braun Strowman will get his chance at Braun Breaker. It's just going to be at a different PLE and not a WrestleMania. But I have a match that I haven't really seen people predict anywhere. Maybe if you have, then whatever. But generally, on everything I love, I have not seen this. And I generally believe this is probably the best WrestleMania match to do for the GOAT, John Cena, is Braun Breaker versus John Cena. Now, there's a lot of reasons why. A lot of people thought, and I've seen multiple people say this, Sami Zayn should go against John Cena so that John Cena can become a Grand Slam champion. Braun Breaker is going to be the new face of the company. They have already said that when Netflix comes around, they're going to strap the rocket on Braun Breaker. I mean, basically they already are. And Braun Breaker is going to be the main player of this Netflix era. And if that's the case, are you telling me you don't want at this WrestleMania first year the new face of the company against the old face of the company, a heel versus babyface kind of run like this? Are you really telling me this makes no sense in your mind? I think this is the perfect match for Braun and John Cena going to WrestleMania. If Braun still has his title by WrestleMania, this has to be the match. John Cena has the chance to become the Grand Slam champion that we can actually see. Braun Breaker could certify his legacy by beating John Cena. This would be an elite match that could solidify Braun Breaker as the new number one. I generally believe we should 100% be seeing this match next WrestleMania. My next WrestleMania also is now going to, our next match is going to SmackDown. We're going to go SmackDown title, and I do believe Cody Rhodes will still have this title. I don't think we're going to see Rock versus Cody this year. I think it could be for WrestleMania 42. I think it could be another time. I just don't see it with other opportunities, so that's why I'm going Cody versus Randy Orton. Randy's already been kind of hinting about getting Cody Rhodes championship. I think he's definitely been looking at it, trying to debate on when to kind of turn on him. They've been just dropping hints, and I think we are going to see it finally come through, probably around Royal Rumble or maybe a little bit before, that Randy is going to win a Royal Rumble, win an Elimination Chamber, and challenge Cody Rhodes and become that nasty heel and backstab Cody Rhodes. I think it makes a lot of sense. You go back to your heel stage in Randy Orton while also becoming a huge babyface for Cody Rhodes. I think it just makes a lot of sense, and I think this would be an excellent time to give Randy Orton that number 15 that he would want. Up next, we have the women's side of the championship, currently held by Bayley. Potentially could be Nia Jax, could be somebody else with the briefcase, and that's what I think. I think it's going to be Tiffany Stratton. I think Tiffany Stratton is going to go against Charlotte Flair, a dream match that everyone has wanted. I think this is where we're going to see a coming back of Charlotte Flair maybe next year, where she decides to come back and challenge a youngster like Tiffany Stratton. I can already see Tiffany Stratton saying it's Tiffy time, it's not Charlotte Flair's time, something like that. Charlotte Flair is going to try and teach Tiffany Stratton, and I do believe Charlotte Flair is going to win. I'm calling it now because I think, and a lot of people have said this, Charlotte Flair, when she comes back to injury, somehow always wins championships. We're probably going to see it again, and it's not going to hurt Tiffany Stratton that much. Charlotte Flair is the GOAT, let's be honest here. Tiffany Stratton is young, and she's going to be a new face of the company. I just think that this makes a lot of sense, and we're going to see a beautiful match happen at WrestleMania. Up next, we have the U.S. title match. I honestly, when I was trying to debate this, it was very hard. I believe LA Knight is still going to have the title. You might disagree with me on that, but I generally believe that LA Knight makes the most sense to still have this title after winning against Logan Paul. Now, who does LA Knight go against? A lot of people think it could be Fatal 4-Way, Triple Threat, one-on-one. I think that it is most likely going to be a one-on-one. I could see a ladder match, truthfully. I just don't see an Andrade, a Kamala Hayes, even a Solo Sikoa going against LA Knight. The one person that I think makes the most sense and that could be the best way to really show off his potential is a Jacob Fatu going against an LA Knight. Now, here's the thing. I don't think Jacob Fatu is showing his full potential yet. I think there's still some potential that he still has. I think we all know it. We've all seen Jacob Fatu has full potential, and he is insane. I think once he's released and they allow him to finally go on his kind of solo run in the way that, he still helps with the bloodline, of course, but he's going solo in the sense of going for championships. I think Jacob Fatu could dethrone an LA Knight here at WrestleMania. And Jacob Fatu is a perfect heel to go against an LA Knight. Jacob Fatu has gone against, I don't actually think so. Who did he go against in that wrestling company? Anyways, LA Knight, different, and has a lot of things with the bloodline going on. Has really hated the bloodline for a while. This is an excellent way to kind of continue that story of a bloodline member screwing over LA Knight. I think this could be an amazing match that would be an excellent, even thinking about Jacob Fatu potentially going against LA Knight makes me drool at my mouth. Now, I have a theory. I think at WrestleMania 41, we are going to see the new mid-card titles for the women's division getting involved. I think there's already been development. There's a report that the women's titles are fully done and they're ready to go. It's just when. I feel like on a big stage at WrestleMania 41 is the perfect way to bring in these new mid-card titles. So I think we're going to see a ladder match with different superstars. Could it be for a women's Intercontinental? Could it be for a women's US title? I don't know. Could it be for both? I don't know. But I'm just going to throw out some people that I don't really have a great story for that I think they could be involved to kind of elevate this title. I think Asuka, Io Sky, Dakota Kai is honestly my favorite to win it. I think that makes a lot of sense. Jade Cargill, I think Bianca Belair makes a lot of sense if they don't want to have them going against each other. I think Chelsea Green could be involved. Ladder Valkyria is another great one that could be a youngster really developing. Naomi's another great one. Becky Lynch and Bayley. I think Bayley, if she's not a championship winner, I think that could be the perfect way to really elevate this title. Having won the 4 horsewomen really being involved makes a lot of sense. And that's just a little theory that I have right there. Now we're going to feuds without championships. And there's a lot here. Because it just makes a lot of sense. First one here, Finn v. Dame. I think this is going to be part 1 or part 2 or part 3 of this feud. I think Bad Blood is going to be not headline, but just have them to go against each other there. I think Bad Blood is going to be the first, or it could be the I think that's going to be the first. I think the second is probably going to be Royal Rumble, maybe Elimination Chamber, or here. And I think that works out very well. I feel like WrestleMania 41 is going to be the end of the Judgment Day. I think this is where we see the Judgment Day fully break off and everything's done. And I can't wait for this feud. I actually just can't wait. I want to see Finn Balor going crazy back in his solo days. Next, another amazing feud that we do have is Bianca and Jade. Now, I am feeling less confident that this is going to happen. I think they haven't used Bianca and Jade in the way that I thought they would to go and make them go against each other for WrestleMania 41. I'm now thinking this could be a WrestleMania 42 type of ideal. It's just less confidence that this is going to happen. I could see them just honestly in a triple threat or fatal 4-way for a championship instead. Could see them going against, maybe Jade Cargill goes against Tiffany Stratton. Maybe Jade Cargill goes against Charlotte Flair. Something like that could happen. But I still believe this is a money-made match that is meant for a WrestleMania. And if WrestleMania 41 is supposed to be the biggest entertainment WrestleMania and the biggest, what do they say? The hot point? Center point? I don't even know. Of Las Vegas. I think it makes a lot of sense to have them here. But I'm feeling a little less confident on this prediction. Up next, I originally, be honest, had Seth versus Punk. I think that was the point in where they wanted to go when it came to the WrestleMania side of things. I think that's what they wanted to do last year. It made a lot of sense to see them do it again this year with them being actually having the chance. But I just don't see a world where Drew or something with Drew is not involved at WrestleMania or in this kind of feud. So I'm going to be honest. I think this is the time we're going to see the triple threat match. I know, Seth Rollins is going to ref a potential, what's it called? CM Punk and Drew McIntyre fight. But I just don't see a way where we see a triple threat for a while. I think that they rather do CM Punk and Drew for a little bit, where it either finishes at Bad Blood, finishes somewhere else, and it's a huge trilogy that happens. And Seth Rollins really is involved in the later end parts of it. I think Seth Rollins could go after champions like Gunther, could go after other people like that. I just think that by the time the trilogy's done with that, I think we're going to see the triple threat action start happening, and it's going to be a slight transition into a CM Punk and a Seth Rollins feud instead. It's just going to be that slight little transition where we see that go from there. I really like this. I think it'll make a lot of sense to have. It's just the sense of, do they do it this late or they do it before? And I think it could happen way before. Now, this next one, I think the person that's involved has to be a part of this WrestleMania. It's just, who does he go against? And I am going to say Uncle Howdy is going to go against Braun Strowman just in a match. There's just a simple match. I feel like Uncle Howdy is going to be involved in some way. Also, there's no render of Uncle Howdy that's good unless it's his old Uncle Howdy self, which I'm not going to post, because it's a completely different character. So we have regular Bo Dallas. I feel like this is just a perfect opponent with the rich history that Braun Strowman has with Bray. Seeing how emotional Braun Strowman got in the Bray Wyatt documentary really shows me how much he loved Bray Wyatt. And I really want to see Bray Wyatt's brother against Braun Strowman and continuing that legacy with Braun Strowman. It's going to hit Braun Strowman hard. This is a perfect way to keep growing this Uncle Howdy story. Why not do this at WrestleMania? It just makes tons and tons and tons of sense. Up next, you can already see by the top of it, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. Now, I really want to talk about this for a second, because if Judgment Day is going to be fully done after this WrestleMania, I want Dom to come out of WrestleMania as a stronger heel. I know he's a good heel, but a stronger heel, and a heel and a guy that could potentially be competing for championships. Now, maybe not world titles. I'm talking more U.S. title, Intercontinental, and he's a threat that can easily win. I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, Rey looks like he could be on his final years to WWE. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if he retires next year. I don't know if it's the year after that. It looks like he's on the downhill of his, WWE career, and he's kind of in purgatory with the LWO, in my opinion, right now. I feel like the perfect way, if they would want to end Rey's career at WrestleMania in some way or form, is a Dom versus Rey, and Dom wins. I think that's the only way that makes sense. Now, I have things that they could do. Rey Mysterio has thrown out before that they want to do a potential mask versus hair match, where if Rey loses, he takes off the mask, he's done with the mask. If Dom loses, he cuts all of his hair off. I'm going to say takes off his hair. I also want to throw out the idea, which actually, sorry, let me say this. Rey really wants that to happen and wants that to be like the biggest thing for him. I think that's a perfect way to end the story. Another thing that I think could be happening is a mask v Judgment Day. I think if Rey loses, of course, the mask is off. If Dominic loses, he leaves Judgment Day and he's done with Judgment Day and everyone around Judgment Day. And I think that would be a nice circle point of Rey is the reason he joins Judgment Day, and then Rey is the reason why he leaves Judgment Day. Would this really happen? I don't know. This is me just spitballing, but again, it's 9 months in advance, so I just feel like I have to just kind of throw it out there and throw it out as like kind of theory that I have. I think maybe this happens at WrestleMania 42 instead of 41. Up next, we have two people that I think makes a lot of sense to go against each other that I had for SummerSlam, but I think now's the time to do it. Jey Uso versus Solo Sikoa. This is another brother-on-brother kind of match. A lot of factors could really happen that doesn't let this happen. But I could see that this is like the heir to the Kings of Roman Reigns and The Rock, where they go against each other as well. This could either push Solo. This could help grow a Jey Uso in the Bloodline story. It would kind of be hard to see this because I do think that, Jacob Fatu and the Tongans and then Jimmy and maybe Sami Zayn would have to be involved in some way. But I don't know how, honestly. I think it's just going to take some time. But I think this is a good one-on-one match to see at WrestleMania. And, of course, If they haven't been invited or involved already, of course, the biggest match for me that coming out of this WrestleMania is going to be Rock versus Roman. This is the perfect time to do this. Last year was the worst time to do it. This is the perfect time to do it. The Bloodline story is growing and growing and growing and will be at an all-time high probably after Survivor Series when you have Bloodline on Bloodline. With that being said, I think if you want a way to tie this all together and make this a true huge Bloodline story, Rock versus Roman is the way to go. And I think this will be tribal chief on tribal chief. I think there will be interesting ways to do this. This is the money match that everyone has wanted for a long, long time. And this will be the best WrestleMania match we'll see in a long, long time. I think it just makes sense. And I think at WrestleMania 41 is probably the hit of it. And then we could see little smaller stories happen after. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.